Hey, what is up everybody, Blades for here, and today I have for you guys another video of Persona 5X. Inside today's video guys, we're going to be going ahead and doing Makoto Yuki's unit review here, which is a character that was actually inside the game not too long ago. Now this character quite literally was beginning our freaking trench into all of P3R, and man, he is awesome. He's a single target fire DPS and brought a ton of different damage markers with him as well. So we're going to go ahead and deep dive into this, but first, be sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. It really does help me out quite a lot. I've been absolutely amazing and supportive with everything that I've been doing thus far. I'm going to continue doing so with my videos. Look forward to them in the future. But alright, so talking about Makoto Yuki himself, he is a single target fire DPS. We were waiting on at least one of these characters because most of our single target fire DPSs are 4 stars if I'm correct. And actually I think we didn't even have one of those, to be honest. So he is quite literally the first 4-star, or at least the first 5-star limited 5-star what's it called, single target DPS, which is absolutely amazing. We have a ton of characters that are like debuffers, healers, and even AoE damagers when it comes down to the fire side of things, but none were really a single target type. So this was actually a huge thing, and it made a lot of people want to get this character, not only just because of course he is the main man of P3R or just P3 in general, but of course because he is the main person for this whole category. So it definitely stirred a lot of at least conversations inside the community. This character does a little bit of everything, bringing in some huge damage numbers while also introducing the mechanic of third-Gs into the game before of course we had characters such as like Yukari and Akihiko jump into the account, at least into the game itself. So truly there was a lot of things that were involved in this, and we're really just going to start off with the awarenesses because man, they're pretty dang good as well. So immediately going ahead and checking out the awarenesses when it comes down to my man Makoto, I do have to say really nothing's really worth with this one. Okay, he can stay at A0. His A1 isn't too crazy. If anything, if you're going to go ahead and invest into him, it's usually going to be the A6 or the A2. A2 is probably the most worth it, seeing that at this point in time you're able to actually start the turn off with at least 4 stacks of moon phase. It then will automatically use moonlit him, so instead of going ahead and utilizing himself, which is one of his moves, you're able to use that at least automatically, which is absolutely amazing. That means at the end of the day you're using all of your move sets at the same time, getting the best out of his entire kit. Really does make him very interesting and very strong, though of course I was not able to get him that A2 and we only got him A0. But don't you worry, the A0 is more than enough as well. Just by getting the A0, it pretty much explains everything that he can do immediately. He's able to use of course Ardenari as well as Cadenza as 3G skills. This is part of his new mechanics where he only can use 3Gs and they operate a little bit differently in highlights. At the start of the battle, he actually restores 35% or at least 35 of his 3G energy, and if Makoto's 3G energy is less than 35, he's able to of course use this as well. So whenever he is less than this, he's actually able to get that 35 energy immediately. But when of course whenever Makoto receives a buff, healing, shields from an ally, he then gains himself 1 stack of moon phase per turn. This is actually pretty dang nice because then it allows him to use these moon phases later on for one of his most powerful moves. And of course he also increases pin by 4, 8, all the way up to 12 just because of his level. So if you are level 1, you get 4 extra pin. If you're level 50, you get 8 extra pin. If you're level 70, you get 12 extra pin, which is a huge deal, especially whenever he has his moon phase ready, which you usually will have this ready quite often. It makes a huge deal because it really starts to show itself more of like how it does work once you look more into his kit and once you really get to utilize his character himself. He's actually insanely busted, and with all of this in mind, it really shows itself very easily. So going ahead and taking a look at least into his skill side of thing here, the main things that you want to go ahead and focus on is mainly going to be at least his skill 3 and his skill 1. His combat skills is really awesome as well because you're going to be using your 3G quite a lot, but the skill 3 and skill 1 are really what you want to go ahead and utilize. Now, don't get it twisted, you can very well use this skill 2, but if I'm being honest, he is a DPS at the end of the day. The skill 2 is more of just a support side of things, which you very well can use, though I would highly suggest you not to do so. There probably will be a video where I decide to try and use him as a little bit of a supporter, but he's definitely all around a just straight up DPS. So skill 3, skill 1, and then of course your combat skills are going to be your main focus. Main reason for this is because skill 3 is the most powerful move that he does have, which by having all of your moon phases in a row, pretty much having them already here, you then perform an immediate huge flaming ball in the air and throw that junk down like a spirit bomb. I'm not going to lie to you. It does a ton of dang damage here, which immediately on that one enemy will then be able to consume all the said special phase, at least moon phase stacks here, dealing a whopping of 134.6% attack to that said enemy. Now, if you do have the 4 stacks, which majority of us will have the 4 stacks, it then will also increase his pin by 11.7 and his damage dealt by a 24.4% amount on this said skill, which is absolutely insane. I've never seen a character who can straight up A0 with a single target on a skill, not a highlight, not anything of that nature. No, on a skill can easily be able to hit 1 mil, 1.3 mil, even 2 mil damage markers. That's something that you normally would see off an AoE character, and if you do see it on a single targeter, it's usually due to dupes or usually due to at least the highlight. But this character can just straight up do it with skill markers, so he meant business when he did come out. Now, of course, with this skill 1 here, this is how you're going to at least build up more of your stacks for at least the moon phase here. And by doing so, you're actually dealing a little bit of fire damage. It does attack 3 whole times, and you will gain 2 whole stacks with this moon phase, up to at least 4 whole stacks. With this in mind as well, once you do consume a moon phase, which every now and again you will of course consume this, you will then have to deal damage with the Scarlet Devouring Blaze, aka the skill 3. This will also increase the skill 3's multiplier by 32.5% for 2 whole turns. So immediately once you utilize this, which is usually going to be used on your first turn, you want to go ahead and utilize this one on your next turn, dealing the most damage that you can deal. And of course we do have of course the Thurges, which is Ordinary, and then of course Cadenza. Ordinary is going to be more of the damaging side, so it'll do some more damage type aspects, while then Cadenza is more of the support side, so it'll do more of the support type aspects. Absolutely amazing type character when you think about it, but we're mainly going to be trying to check out at least a weapon, which this is definitely needed. Or at least him, I would definitely say get this weapon. It's really worth it. It's probably one of the few weapons I can definitely vouch for, mainly because with his 4-star weapon, although he does deal some damage, you very well can see the difference of damage there. The 4-star weapon does allow him to still deal some damage, seeing it does increase his attack as well as his damage dealt, but I will say it's not really too useful. This attack only goes up to 24%, and the damage dealt overall is a little bit gated because you do have to buff your allies in order to of course get this damage dealt. It always goes up to at least a 17.2%, and that only lasts for a whole 2 turns for him and his allies himself. While for at least his 5-star weapon, you're getting some additionals that you really need. This character needs a ton of crit rate, so of course increasing your crit rate by 16.3% is already worth it, and you also get this whenever you have moon phases of 3 or special moon phase as well for 2 whole turns. Alongside of this, you're getting yourself a 30% attack increase, and a damage increase instead of being that measly 17.2% is a 34%. Now this happens whenever you deal 4 hits of damage with these persona skills, which is going to be fairly easy to do, seeing majority of your team is going to help you do that as well. So I would definitely say this 5-star weapon is definitely worth it. Please do not skip it. It's not going to be worth doing so. I would very hardcore advise you guys to get this weapon. It's definitely worth it. But now that we've talked about the 5-star weapon itself and talked about his skills, let's go ahead and show how he does it in battle. Now, I want to say Makoto is probably one of the newer units that quite literally I do like to use a lot here, and it's mainly just because of the damage he can deal. I think the best way of at least showcasing what we can do here is mainly just showing it inside of battle. He does a ton of damage, and I think this is the one time that I probably will try to set it up as proper as possible. It's quite literally just very fun to use this character, and to be honest, if you can go ahead and get them, I would advise you guys to do so. It's absolutely fun to use this character to the max that they can be used for. So first things first here, we're gonna go ahead and trigger off as much as possible. So let's get him buffed, because I'm not gonna lie, this is one of the few characters I want to set him up so you guys can really see how he can actually deal some damage here. So I'm gonna go ahead and buff him up here immediately just to show you guys exactly what he's capable of. first turn, immediately doing something like this, which is going to get absorbed, but still we get the wind erosion that we do need here. And then from here, we're going to go ahead and pop this off just to make sure he's all buffed up. And then you guys are going to see this skill 1. Now, skill 1 is pretty much just the normal. It's just a normal thing, nothing too crazy here, really just helping out his whole stacks for at least the moon phase. You're mainly going to be utilizing this just to make sure you get the moon phases up, which does several accounts of damage. As you can see just from the skill 1, which is meant to be a setup skill, it alone did 120k, which is already insane to see a character of his caliber doing. But then we're going to go ahead and do this as well. So Choir of Doves allows us to get that damage dealt, which is absolutely amazing as well here. And I really just want to be a little bit extra. So we are going to go, of course, and use the 3G skill to show you guys his 3G as fast as possible. So go ahead and make sure she does this real quick, in which will immediately do a little bit of a showcase for him as well. So let's go ahead and pop this one off. And you guys are really just going to enjoy seeing this. I'm not going to lie. This is probably the only character other than Mesa that you guys are going to actually see me go ahead and use like this and just really prep up. And it's just because the overwhelming amount of damage that it really do. Him being the start of at least P3R quite literally made me very excited, and I won't even lie to you, was such a worth character. Let's go ahead and investing into. So we're going to go ahead and do this here, making sure he's able to perform as much damage as possible. And then you guys are immediately going to see something a little bit different here. Now with this in mind, we have everything in play, and you guys are really going to be able to see exactly the amount of damage you can deal. So first things first here, one of the few things I want to go ahead and showcase is probably just going to be his Scarlet Devouring Blaze, because we do want to keep at least his 3G for the next turn. So let's go ahead and pop this off, and this is what he throws, a literal giant spirit bomb. So it does immense amount of damage. As you can see, we didn't even use the other attack thing, and just from that we did 700k, which is actually insanely busted. I really didn't think that he dealt this much damage, to be honest. It kind of was crazy to actually see, but absolutely worth it. So let's go ahead and buff this on up here, and I'm actually going to use both of his last extra turns to show both skills at the same time, so you guys can see all of them in one go instead of restarting and actually showing it that way. So let's quickly go ahead and buff them all up, make sure he's able to do this all 3 times, and who knows, we might actually defeat the boss as well, just to show this guy. He's one of the few characters that I truly can't wait. Like, I just like using him. So we're gonna go ahead and actually show off his first 3G here, in which I think I'll just go ahead and hit one of these mobs here. He uses these two, throws a huge flaming ball, and slices it accordingly, dealing a ton of damage. Now his actual follow-up looks something like this, in which we haven't done any showcases on follow-ups really, because they're kind of hard to do unless you're actually paying attention to it. But at that point in time, just gonna go ahead and get him on prepped up, so once it is his turn again, you guys will be able to see the next move. So let's go ahead and just pop everything on off here. We're going to use the skill 2 so you guys can actually see how that moves looks as well. So now we have everything in order. I'm going to go ahead and use this as well, in which I actually used the wrong one, but I'm going to go ahead and use Moonlight him. This is going to give us a stack as well, and it's more of a support side of things. By utilizing this, you guys get to see everything that you really want to see. But now we can then do the 3G again, which does do a little bit of a buff, and it looks something similar to this. Absolutely amazing. But those are all the skills that he can pretty much do, and as I did say before, he also has his assist skill that also helps out his attack, and this immediately will show you how much he can really do. So just based on this alone here, we do a little bit of a hit, boom, 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 and immediately nearly 1 million just right there. And we can technically do it again, seeing that, hey, why not? We have Anj here, let's go ahead and complete it. Now, as you can see, he's a really powerful character. He's probably one of the few that I kind of do regret not duping all the way out, but I'm not gonna lie to you, it's absolutely amazing. But all in all, I love this character a lot. I think a lot of you guys, when he does release on global, will love him as well. And I would highly at least advise you guys to try and get as much for him as possible. Absolutely fun to use him, and the rest of them are probably going to be the same way. But till then, everybody, thank you guys for watching. Hit that like button, that subscribe button. Until next time, peace out.